and we are back with our second run of the day. It is Titanfall 2, 80% race between Sanaka and Nextracer, with commentary by Angry Six Dorito and Zeke, and I will let them all take it away.
Hello, welcome. I'm Sanaka. I'm the resident weeb of the Titanfall speedrun community.
Yeah, I'm Nex. I hold 4th place in 90% right now. I'm just another runner of this game.
Hello, I'm Zweek. I'm going to be commentating for this. I currently hold 3rd place in I think all of the major categories, and I really like this game.
We all do.
Hello, I am Angry Space Dorito. I hold 11th place, I think, for the no cutscenes category, and somewhere really far down on the 20% category.
I guess we can introduce a little bit about what exactly Titanfall 2 is before we start.
Right. Titanfall 2 is a game made by Respawn Entertainment. They are the same people who made Apex Legends. It is run on a heavily modified version of the Source engine.
Yeah.
Which is the same engine as games like CS:GO, Portal, etc., etc.
Yeah, I mean, we have a Portal 2 co-op run coming up, I think later today, so same engine, obviously played in very, very different ways, especially in Titanfall 2 compared to other games like Half-Life and whatnot. But
yeah, Titanfall 2 has a lot of very interesting quirks that differentiate it from what a normal Source game would be. But I feel like we can probably get a bit more into detail once the run actually starts. So I feel like once the runners are ready, we can probably start counting down and just get right into it, right?
Yeah, for sure. Next.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I guess we'll start in 3, 2. Or actually, is Nex's stream still buffering a little bit?
It is, I think.
Oh.
Let's see if a refresh can fix that for me real quick.
Well,
this is a bit unfortunate because Nex has had pretty unstable internet for the past couple of days, so this is not necessarily something we didn't predict at all.
Yeah.
But it's looking fine on my end again.
It's looking fine now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think
good to go now.
Are we good to go? All right. So I'll count down
from
3, and we'll go in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so yeah, so like it was stated at the beginning, Titanfall 2 runs on a very heavily modified version of the Source engine, which basically means that all of the basic Source movement that you know from other Source games is in this game, just in ever so slightly different ways. So we do have access to regular air strafing and bunny hopping, but the main thing that differentiates Titanfall 2 from other Source games is that it's combined with other mechanics like a double jump and wall running. So that's probably the quickest way I could condense what Titanfall 2 is into like one sentence. It's Source movement plus wall running. And we can see in the gauntlet right at the beginning here, Sanaka's already going. You can see the bunny hopping already in action, and you can see the air strafing, and it basically allows us to move in pretty much a straight line while we're doing slaloms. We'll wait for the auditor. There we go.
Now the first thing you might notice is the characters are speaking in Mandarin Chinese, and Mandarin saves about 36 seconds due to the dialogue just transpiring much quicker than in English. You might have seen this being utilized in other games like Breath of the Wild and I think Mario 64. So yeah, that is the reason the game is in Mandarin.
Yeah, in a lot of games, language language saving time often comes down to characters just being a bit smaller and being able to fit more information into text boxes. But in this game, it is actually the dialogue times. They do actually speak just a bit quicker in most instances. There are a couple levels where it was initially thought that English was a bit faster just due to how the game works, but in very recent discoveries, it was found that, especially in Effect and Cause Chapter 2, we recently had some discoveries that said maybe language doesn't actually make a difference in that level, where initially we all thought that English was actually faster. But yeah, one of the
So-
one of the things that's interesting about the gauntlet, I kind of missed Sanaka doing this, but we'll probably be able to see Next doing this in a bit. Is a technique that we call frag boosting, and it works very uniquely in the gauntlet because, as you can see already from the EPG boost, we can't actually die from any damage boost. So in the gauntlet, we can literally just let a grenade explode in our hands, or we can also throw it straight down, and we don't really need to worry about the distance. So in this case, by letting the grenade explode in our hands, it's a bit finicky, but if we are going fast enough and in the right direction, it can actually give us a pretty huge boost, and it can get us up to like 90 kilometers an hour very, very quickly.
So in the lower side of the game, we are being trained by Captain Lastimosa, who is an elite pilot in the Militia SRS, which is the good guys, and then there's the IMC, or the Interstellar Manufacturing Corporation, which are the bad guys. And right now we're being trained by Lastimosa, and on Sanaka stream we just got taken out of the simulation because we are being attacked. So now we are going down on the planet Typhon to basically stop the IMC from executing a how should I say this? Zeke, help me out here.
We stop the IMC from doing bad guy things, essentially.
Yeah,
the story isn't
yes.
really like
essentially
all that
doing villain
hugely
things.
important. Yeah, the story isn't really all of like the hugely important thing. What you mostly play this game for is the gameplay, which is, in a way, kind of unfortunate. This game's kind of an unfortunate masterpiece in the sense that there are a lot of unskippable cutscenes in this game, but all
For
of the
sure.
gameplay in between those cutscenes is pretty much top notch.
It's
So we can
very
see
clean. Yeah.
So yeah, speaking of cutscenes, we are right now getting into the infamous 18-hour cutscene, which it's called the 18-hour cutscene because of the dialogue, which you may see in the subtitles happening, where is just a really long cutscene followed by about 10 to 15 seconds of gameplay, followed by another really long cutscene.
So we're
it's a
so
lot
we're
of
actually like
flip-flopping.
cutscenes.
It's a lot
the
of
cutscenes
flip-flopping of
Quick
just
donation?
yeah, we do actually have a bit of time for a quick donation since this is a long cutscene.
Yeah.
Okay, I do have $20 from Lord Fluffy that says expletive the MRVN.
Ah, yes. Please kill the Marvin. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, this is a great time to mention the donation incentive. By the way, yeah, the saving or killing the Marvin, I would highly recommend donating to kill the Marvin, as it is much faster, and if you save him, well, let's just say it's not really saving him.
Let's just say there will be consequences.
There will be consequences.
We're not gonna
Yes.
spoil it. So right here, you can have Jack Cooper in the light post. Right now we're still a grunt, so I think we can explain further as to like what's going to happen here.
Yeah, the beginning section, we had the double jump and the wall run in the gauntlet, but in the beginning section here, we basically lose all of that, but we can still airstrafe and slide hop, which I don't think we're actually supposed to be able to do, but this allows us to get through this opening section that is a big combat section, and we can just skip past all of the enemies.
We can also punch.
And just like that, it's basically over.
You can also
It's a very-
punch specters.
very
and
We,
quick for
we
whatever
also
reason.
got injected with a bunch of drugs in the life pod,
Also,
and now we get a Lastimosa Ex Machina.
yeah, Lastimosa kind of saves our butt here from almost getting killed by an enemy
By a
Titan.
Titan. And now, guess what? We're gonna get injected by more drugs.
More drugs.
Two
and
drugs in
all
one?
of this is another very long cutscene.
Yes.
Man, if only Fluffy was here.
If only Fluffy was here. True.
So
But you
for-
can kind of tell the game has a pretty slow start, but
Yeah.
directly after this cut, like once this big cutscene is over, that's when the game really gets going. Like once we put on our pilot helmet, that's when we're pretty much left to pretty much go as fast as we want. But in the meantime, I don't know if we have any other donations, but this is probably another good time to donate.
Nothing new at the current moment, but I will give you an update on that bid war. Right now, Save is leading $40 to 25. So if you want to switch that around, we need to get some donations in.
Send it in right now. Kill that Marvin.
Send them in. Definitely, definitely
Send it in.
kill that Marvin. There will be absolutely no consequences for killing the Marvin, unlike saving him.
So fun fact about this cutscene, by the way, you can actually kill Richter.
Oh yeah. Technically, Richter is actually killable in this.
Yeah.
I think this was found. I think you can probably say more about this, but I think it was found when people were messing about with a co-op mod in the game.
Yeah.
I think.
So
You can. I think you can kill like pretty much a lot of the NPCs that are in a cutscene.
Well, only some of
Technically.
them. So for example, in this cutscene right here, you actually can't kill Bliss. Bliss is considered for some reason an entity, or like at least like an invincible entity. Whereas for some reason
Yeah,
Richter just
invincible.
isn't.
Yeah.
You can just kill Richter however you want. It doesn't matter. You can like execute him. You can kill him. Literally, it will not crash the game.
Yeah, and this will come in later in a strat, a little strat at the end of the game, which I'm
Yeah,
not
way
gonna
at the end
spoil.
of the game, we do use a similar strategy of that sort.
So yeah, lore-wise, Lastimosa's pretty roughed up, and now Next is going to shoot him even more to finish him off, so we can steal his pilot helmet, his jump kit, and his Titan.
For those curious, by
Yeah,
the
it
way,
is-
that is canon.
Yeah, it is speedrunner.
most definitely
speedrunner
canon.
that Cooper kills Lastimosa and steal his jump kit because
Yes,
you know,
this-
as you can tell, there's another long and boring cutscene where Lastimosa tells us, "Oh, take my Titan," and we just wanted to get on with it, so we just shoot him. It doesn't actually make the cutscene go any faster, but we like to think that it does.
We really wish we could save at least like 2 minutes of cutscenes.
Yeah. Which is why I feel like this is a great time. There is actually a separate category for this game called No Cutscenes, both for any percent and all helmets, where we use custom save files to basically, whenever a cutscene starts, we just load to the end of that cutscene,
Yeah.
and it is about like 24 minutes shorter than standard any percent. So we skip like 24 minutes of cutscenes in that
cutscenes.
category.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it-
which is why no cutscenes is the more competitive category, because it is just non-stop action compared
Yeah,
to
pretty
any percent
much.
where you just have a lot of downtime.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a
So
lot
you
less
can
downtime
imagine
than
it gets a little frustrating for top runners when they get through this entire cutscene sequence you just saw, and then mess up in the first like 20 seconds of BT and have to reset.
Yeah, we can already see on Sanaka's stream. Once we put on the helmet, now we're pretty much left to go as fast as we want. And this is where it really comes into play how really difficult this level is. Because as you saw right there, you know, Sanaka landed on a spot there and got like shot off to the
Geometry.
side there.
Yeah.
That is all because this level, every single rock and like elevation you can see in the ground, that actually has like proper collision. And if you land on the wrong spot, you can either like be shot off to the side or lose pretty much all of your speed, which makes moving fast through this level very, very difficult, and it makes it a very like reset heavy level.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
So,
reason
right
why I
now-
have this this split on my live split, which I call it the run killer.
It is a big run killer, yeah. And right
Yeah.
at the beginning of the run, and right after a lot of cutscenes, which makes standard categories a lot more frustrating to run.
For
So
sure.
right now we don't have our double jump because our jump kit is still calibrating to Cooper's body and movement, etc. So we're just making do with one jump and some wall running. But right about now, after we get through these prowlers, we will have our double jump now ready. And this is where the game really takes off, when you have all of your movement arsenal just ready.
Yeah, at this point we have the entirety of our movement kit unlocked, and we can definitely see this is where the movement really starts shining by just bunny hopping, double jumping everywhere, and wall kicking off walls, which is a mechanic that we'll get into a little bit after this. But for now, we can see a slant boost right here. If we hit
a little bit
like
rusty.
if we hit a slanted surface at just the right angle, we can actually get a pretty sizable forward momentum boost from that. Ooh, that was
Oh my
that
god,
was
dude!
very close.
That was
Almost
very
pretty-
scary.
Oh no!
I walked forward a bit
Oh
there by
my God.
accident. Oh, that was
Oh, that
unfortunate.
grunt. That is
Right.
unfortunate.
So
Yeah,
while we're here,
I threw
again,
the grenade a little bit too
I'm
early.
gonna explain what's happening in the story. BT is also pretty roughed up, just as Lastimosa was, and now we're bringing him some AA batteries to refuel him. And this is the.
Very messy. It's all good though. This is BT.
There we go. Okay, so this is the first battery we're installing, but BT's a hungry boy, so we have to get another one immediately afterwards.
Yeah, so BT does need 2 batteries, and this entire level is essentially just us moving to a battery, getting the battery, and putting it back into BT, but twice and in different segments. And coming up, this is probably one of the hardest segments in the early game, called Ravine, where we basically need to string a bunch of wall kicks back to back. And a wall kick, we didn't explain this earlier, but a wall kick is essentially just we jump off of a wall immediately as we're touching it. And if we do it early enough, a little bit of trouble there, but if we do it early enough, it can actually give us a pretty sizable speed boost. And what's
The
nice
window
about that is...
there is about 5 ticks. The game runs at 60 ticks per second.
Yeah, so we have
That's the
5
first time it happened
60ths
to me.
of a that's unfortunate. But we have 5 60ths of a second for each wall kick, and if we get the timing right, we can gain a little bit of speed.
I am just experiencing things I have never experienced before.
This definitely
Right.
seems like
So yeah,
something
we can chain wall kicks together to get an absolutely insane amount of speed. We don't have any sort of speed limit, as long as you do stuff like wall kicks and side hops, etc., etc. Which means we can go like as fast as we can.
Yeah, and there's no like hard speed cap in this game, which means if you play theoretically perfectly, you can theoretically at least go infinitely fast. Of course, that's not practical, but there's no hard cap for how much speed you can gain either by ear strafing or kicking off walls.
Yeah.
Now we're coming up on the second battery.
Here we have the second battery. Before that, we could see like coming through the vents. It's a bit faster. You can spam jump. If you spam jump quickly enough, you can actually gain a little bit of double jump speed. Here's another slant boost, by the way. Unfortunate side jump after it, but you can kind of see that you can kind of like convert all of the downward speed into forward speed if you hit like the right surface.
And we get to precise frags to kill all these robots and put the battery in BT. And now it's time for a really long cutscene again.
Yeah, another long cutscene at the end at Sanaka's end. I think Nexus is quite a bit farther ahead now. He's coming up onto brute fight. Let's see if he does no U strat here.
Yeah, I messed up no U.
Oh, that's unfortunate. But yeah, no U strat is essentially you load up the brute's vortex shield, which is like the blue shield that he puts up. We can load that up with our own bullets, and then wait for him to shoot it back at us, and then use our own blue shield to take those bullets and shoot them back at you. So the brute basically hits us with a no U, and we hit him with a no U again. Which is
Essentially, think of it as like the brute throwing us an Uno reverse card, but then we throw them another Uno reverse card.
That's exactly what it is. Wait, Nex has already gotten through BT, so that's a pretty sizable lead for Nex at this point, which is pretty. Yeah, that's actually pretty big because Sanaka still has to lose. Wait through a fairly
Lots of weird issues that I had in BT, but overall I'm like not too like, how to say this? I don't know if
you
there's a
can't
right
be
word for
too
it.
upset about it because it is.
Yeah, I'm not too upset about it.
So now we're coming up on Nexus End onto Blood and Rust. So essentially, BT and Cooper, the main character's name is Jack Cooper, are making their way towards someone called Major Anderson. and we have to make our way through this sewage plant first in order to
Early
get to him.
disembark, yeah.
Yes, there literally disembarks right here.
Unfortunate that he missed the wall kick, but if you can hit all of the wall kicks there, and you can carry a pretty sizable amount of speed through that segment, and you can reach the button at the top of the control room, which he's going for right now. You can reach that button in about like 56 to 57 seconds if you hit all of your wall kicks properly. So that wasn't quite there, but that was still pretty clean from Nex, even with that missed wall kick. Also using a frag boost here, you can see that frag boosts in the rest of the game work a bit differently from how they work in the Gauntlet, in the sense that you need to set them up very, very precisely, because we don't actually, you know, if you are too close to a grenade as it explodes, it can actually kill you. It can and will kill you if you're too close. Ooh, a very nice tap strafe around the corner there, which we also haven't talked about. Tap strafing.
Yeah, tap strafing.
Tap strafing is a technique that, in short, it takes advantage of a mechanic that's called lurch, that we call strafe lurch. And essentially what it means is if we're strafing, and like within half a second after jumping, we rapidly tap W in addition to strafing, we can cut corners really, really tightly. However, the only downside is that it costs us a little bit of speed. But in most cases, when we have to do these really sharp 90-degree turns, it's almost always worth taking the speed loss and having that tighter turn.
Unless you're TAS.
So to elaborate a bit more on strafe lurch, within half a second of jumping, if you press any direction, any of the 4 cardinal directions, you lose a bit of speed, which is why we do a lot of no lurch speed tech, which is basically holding both A and D in the middle of a double jump, so we don't get affected by lurch, and we can start strafing immediately.
Unfortunate. Next, we're going for something we call a bump launch, which very shortly explained. There's a lot to a lot of these things, but shortly explained, you can crouch and mush yourself into a corner, and if you match jump very, very quickly, you can gain a lot of height very, very quickly. And if you do it properly, you can go like super fast. You can like hit the ceiling like as fast as you can go with that.
You can hit the ceiling in about like 1 second. Oh right, yeah. Sludge. That was sludge skip.
Yeah, sludge skips a very significant like 4-minute wave fight. So that's probably one of the biggest skips in the game, even though it didn't really look like much. That is a pretty huge speed. That is a pretty huge skip, and is probably the first like big sequence break in the game. And it basically allows us to skip that entire fight and already move onto the boss fight Kane here. So we can kind of see Sanaka approaching Sniper Canal with a bit of an unfortunate bonk there.
Yeah.
But we can take a look on Sanaka's screen. What Ravine? Not Ravine. I keep messing that up. I keep switching Ravine and Sniper Canals around. So in Sniper Canals, you essentially it's a long, like straight way where you have to hit a lot of wall kicks. It's similar to Ravine in that sense, and you can keep a lot of speed through that. So you go like around the outside of this, and if you go really fast, you can even skip that wall that he just wall kicked off of.
Just disembarked in Kane 5 by accident.
Oh my god! I just saw that.
Oh my god.
I'll just like stop them.
That is actually a more common mistake than you might think, because the Kane fight actually ends not when he like completely dies, but when you see that his health bar turns to like the orange and red sort of stripes. And sometimes you can get a little overzealous and disembark a little bit too early. So it's a very easy mistake to make to disembark, but you definitely don't want to do that too early, or else you have to re-embark and then kill Kane from there.
I really thought I was gonna die then. That was scary.
Yeah, Titans can kill you extremely quickly if you're not in the Titan yourself. I think Tones can one-shot you, like even on easy difficulty. Which, by the way, we do the speedrun on easy difficulty because it's just involves a lot less RNG with enemy placements and stuff like that.
Yeah, and as you might be able to tell, Nex just got out of bounds there at the end. Nothing too crazy. He just did.
Nothing too crazy while waiting for a cutscene.
Oh, and
yeah,
look who's decided to finally show up in the chat.
After finishing off Kane, it's a big long cutscene, so going out of bounds there is just like a fun thing you can do to kill some time.
Right, now we're into the Abyss. We are still making our way towards Major Anderson, and BT has discovered a shortcut that he's leading Cooper into, which this shortcut will turn out a little more dangerous than BT anticipated.
Yeah.
Since this is a huge factory, not I'm not too sure. Yeah, it's a huge factory where you can see like a lot of robots being built and a bunch of trees and stuff.
Yeah, thematically, this is definitely one of the cooler levels. Although every level in the game has its own theme, and it's all very cool. But gameplay-wise, Into the Abyss Chapter 1 is a lot of Titan movement, which isn't the most exciting thing in the world, but it is a different kind of movement because you have to take like really optimal lines. And
speaking of interesting movement, yeah, we're making our way to Wall Boost, which we can.
Yeah, that was a bit scary, but that was wall boost. If you have the right dash pattern, you can get ahead of that wall, and it basically pushes you throughout that entire hallway. And the reason you saw Nex disembark there is that was a safety strat to do because the wall can sometimes just randomly kill you. There are like reasons for why we know why it killed you, or like tell us that we can if the wall is gonna kill us, but sometimes the wall just kind of kills us and we don't know why, so disembarking is always something that you can do to safely prevent yourself from dying. And at the end here, we also have some very nice pilot movement, so it's Abyss 1 is a bit of a mixed bag. It's a lot of optimized Titan movement at the beginning and middle of the level, and the end.
So now that Nex has pressed this button, the kill 4 is completely removed there, which means that we can just fall there and hit the end level trigger really fast and not die.
Yeah, that was also a very, very clean way to hit the button as you just kind of flying past it. Usually the safer thing is to just land on the button and then fall, but because you have a bit more downward speed, it's a bit faster to just fly by the button.
So now we're into the Abyss Chapter 2, and I was gonna say something about the really fast movement here.
I was about to say the same thing. Yeah, but this intro section has a lot of really cool movement right at the beginning if you manage to keep the speed boost from the platform all the way through. And you might think because Nex kind of messed up and lost a lot of that speed, he's gonna lose a lot of time, but that's actually not the case because this entire level is a big, huge auto-scroller. It's a 6-minute auto-scroller where the auto-scroller is essentially all the platforms that he's standing on right now, and the progression of the level is tied to where those platforms are, and basically from the moment you load into the level, these platforms are on a fixed cycle, and you cannot affect that cycle in any way that we know of right now.
Yes, so this is why we have the holy grail of skips that is yet to be found, which is the end level trigger for this level is always present, but it is very out of bounds, and we've never found a way to get to it without, no clipping out there.
Yeah. It's one of the skips that's been theorized for a long time, and we're kind of getting close with a new discovery. Well, not really a new discovery, but we're kind of looking more into something that we call glitch state, which is a very weird state of the game that allows us to clip through certain walls, and it kind of disjoints the camera from our collision box. And it's all really weird, and we don't really understand it, but we believe that we can use that to some effect to clip through certain walls and get up to the end level trigger. But so far we haven't found a way to reproduce that sort of glitched state, which is something that we're still looking into.
Yeah. For a good comparison would be like something kind of like Phantom Crouch in like Portal 2. It works in a similar way, but again, it's something that we don't know how to reproduce yet, so it's still like a mystery for us on exactly how you're supposed to make it work and whatnot. Whereas compared to Phantom Crouch, obviously it's already like figured out like, oh, it can do this.
Yeah.
So what Nex is doing right now is basically just waiting for the platforms, and Nex, are you doing red versus blue?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, so Nex is setting up a little fight we call it red versus blue, between these two robots. Oh, so this one is gonna be blue because we hack it, and the other one is red. And
Where did red go?
Where's
I
red?
can't see red anywhere.
Did a tick accidentally kill him?
Red just straight up left the server. Red already forfeited at the start of the match.
Just Alt F4.
Oh,
Alright,
that's kind of
we'll
unfortunate.
see if it'll turn out differently on Sanaka's end.
Yeah, maybe we'll get to see a good red boost from Sanaka, but that is one of the things we like to do because yeah, we have to wait for this this last platform to get to where we are, which is why we take like a very out of the way route that we call Toad Spice route, which takes us along the entire like outside of the level, which you probably saw earlier, but we were so caught up in commentary that we didn't even mention it. But
A lot of these strats just become part of our daily lives, and we just don't acknowledge them anymore.
yeah, we've run this game so much that it's hard for us to acknowledge when cool stuff is happening because we have like such a different like perspective on what the speed game is like from having run it a lot. But yeah, the Told Spice route itself doesn't save any time. It skips basically all of the level, but it doesn't save any time because of the fact that the
level is not a scroller.
Yeah, the level's an auto scroller. So we still have to wait for that platinum. Dude, I got something in my throat.
That's the worst timing ever.
Yeah, we just have to wait for that platform to take us to the end of the level, which is somewhere around here. And this is where we will explain Dome Launch and Dome Skip. So, next, good luck with Dome Launch. Let's see how it turns out while Sanaka is on their way to...
Unfortunately, Nex didn't get quite like the right boost that you get there. There are a couple different kinds of boosts you can get there, and the one that you want is basically one that sends you in pretty much a straight line towards the edge that you're aiming for.
So we can preserve a lot of the momentum from platforms, which you can see on Nex's stream now, and also on Sanaka's stream where they do this platform launch to just gain an insane amount of speed. And this can be either upward speed or horizontal speed. In the case of Dome Launch, we just get to the trigger, which triggers this whole section where the dome above is just reconstructing itself. And this is where Dome Skip will happen. Alright, let's
Yeah, Dome Skip is
So, yeah.
definitely one of the hardest tricks in the entire game. It uses a very precise setup to clip through this wall here. Let's see if Nex can get it. Extremely
very
precise.
sub-pixel manipulation.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on there. Number one, you crouch. Number two, you walk through the wall.
Yeah,
So essentially-
basically there is just no collision on that corner of the wall.
Yeah,
And we used to do this strat differently for I think it was a QA tester at Respawn that reached out to the community and said, hey, I worked on this level, there's a different way you can clip through this wall, but I'm not gonna tell you what it is. And basically what people discovered is that you can just walk through the wall there. And now we are going to get teleported to a different section of the level, which is where the end level trigger is. That's the level. That's it.
That's the worst level in the entire game. That's gone. That was
Yeah.
that was.
This skips another huge fight where
yeah.
Ash just throws random stuff at us, but we just skip all of it. And in fact, this is Into Abyss Chapter 3, the final one, where in a little we will mention Ash skip, which is a skip where we skip, guess who? Ash.
Had a lot of
I just
trouble
held
with that.
back to a double jump by accident, so I just didn't get it.
Sorry, Apex fans.
That's a great example of how this level kind of is. It's a very short level, but it also is extremely difficult because the intro of the level is just a lot of very tight corridors. You're basically moving through like a tiny cave, and your movement has to be very precise in order to land in the right spots. And it also suffers from BT geometry, similar to the first level in the game, where every single bit of geometry you see actually also has collision. That was a very nice frag boost from Nex there. Moving through caverns
And
was also
very
very
good
cool.
Deceptive Caverns, yeah.
Yeah,
Deceptive
the
Caverns
Deceptive
is
Cavern was
named after As Deception, the person who figured out the route for this.
Not sure if you guys saw
And-
what happened to my RAB, but I hacked one of the specters right in front of the other specter, and then somehow the blue specter won.
Oh my god. I mean, at least there was a fight.
What is the name?
Unlike with Nex.
It was literally in front of him.
Right.
Like,
so
I was
here we
on the
will
verge of
explain,
dying.
Here we will explain Ash skip, the skip where you skip Ash. Next is going to imitate a cat and get on top of a really high place, and then they will cope out of the level. So what's happening here is basically when you disembark, the game puts you and BT in the nearest spot where both can fit, and that spot, their nearest spot there, is just so happens to be out of bounds. And we will do a similar thing here, which we also avoided a little trigger that triggers the Ash cutscene, which loses a lot of time. And here we do another disembark teleport thing.
Yeah, the second disembark there that we do may not have looked like anything, but there is actually an invisible wall that we can't get past, but we can just disembark clip through that with the same method.
And then we just get the end level trigger, which is, again, always present. And now, on Nexus End, we are getting into Effect and Cause, Chapter 1. Another one of those free chapter levels. Effect and Cause Chapter 1 is pretty much an auto-scroller.
Well, somewhat.
Effect and Cause 1?
Like, as soon as you get a certain helmet, it is just an auto-scroller.
I guess so. I feel like autoscroller is not necessarily the most accurate description of it. The beginning is pretty straightforward movement, but it is just like a very... It's like a soft cutscene in a sense. Once you grab the helmet, you're kind of tied to how quickly BT can talk to you, and you just kind of have to wait for him to run through his dialogue to get through.
So you can see that some funky time stuff is happening, and that is because of a super weapon that the IMC discovered, not invented, where it's causing these distortions in time. You can see Nex is hopping between two separate timelines.
Going for a pretty difficult frag here.
Yeah,
Didn't get a boost, but that's fine. You can keep... that's unfortunate. But you can keep a lot of speed through that long hallway. Basically, anytime there's like a long hallway in the game, that's a great opportunity for us to build up a lot of speed and keep it through, which is always very, very fast. Because this game is very, very momentum based. It's not a lot of stop and go and just speeding up momentarily and slowing down. It's a lot of very smooth movement, and losing a tiny bit of speed can lose a lot of time in the long run, especially if you have those really long straightaways where you're meant to keep a lot of speed.
So yeah, well, we just saw Major Anderson, who turned off his no-quip at a very unfortunate spot. Basically, he has this device on his high hand, which is on the other side of his corpse, which can let him freely go between the two timelines here. And Nex is apparently doing the all helmets route here.
Yeah, Nex is running all helmets? The best category in the game?
Yeah, basically we're just stuck here waiting for this briefing between Commander Sarah Briggs, and Major Anderson. And
yeah, it's a big long cutscene, which is why we have a bit of time to collect the helmets.
Yeah.
Do I have time to sneak in a couple of donations?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have some time for one donation.
Okay, I've got two of them that came in, both $20. One from Combo that says save the Marvin because he's evil. Another one from Tezkinas saying kill the Marvin. So Save is still in the lead by $15. If you want to get some donations in to either push that lead or help the runners by killing the Marvin.
So we got $20 each on both sides. So we
got plenty of time. Plenty of time.
Yeah, you still have time to submit your donation. So please do it now.
Please kill the Marvin.
Please kill the Marvin.
That's all
it's
we
better
want.
for all of us. And also the Marvin. You don't know it yet, but it's better for the Marvin to kill.
You will see.
You will see.
There will be consequences.
Next, are you gonna do FTL?
Yep.
Alright, so coming up here is a trick called FTL, or faster than light, which basically it's a really long hallway where you switch time multiple times, and Nex is essentially going to get a damage boost from the laser grid that is at the door, and basically launch himself into the corridor, kill the grunts and Marvins that get in his way, and
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
you can revert checkpoint for that, and it sets you up really nicely if you try it again.
I had the unfortunate.
Oh, that's really good.
Event
That
of,
is clean.
I had a.
Oh wait,
And
Sanaka,
yeah,
did you
that
have
was,
like a really bad checkpoint? I saw you were doing ask earlier.
Yeah. Apparently I missed the. Oh, what happened? Apparently I missed the little like razor's edge kind of thing. I have to wait for my thing to come back here.
Oh, did you like trigger the cutscene?
No, I didn't. So what happened is that I jumped towards the second rock, but then I missed the razor's edge like on the very end of like when you're supposed to get your second dash.
now we can see Nex picking up the device that was on Anderson's other side of his corpse.
That was just overall unfortunate though.
And now we can switch time. We can press middle mouse to time travel, the best prompt in this game, where we can just freely switch timelines. And this is the level that if your friends have played this game, they won't shut up about, and if you've played this game, you won't stop recommending to everyone.
That's true.
It's the mission that everyone talks about whenever I like buy them this game. They're like, oh dude, effect and cool, and the cost was so cool. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's definitely the most unique level in the game, and it's definitely the big talker. It's the one you talk about.
So much so that it has its own Wikipedia article too.
Does it have its own? Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
It does, yeah.
That is cool.
It's very interesting. I am also
Sanaka
2 minutes behind my
also-
split, by the way.
Yeah, while next stream is buffering, about the missed ash skip, you can kind of see that sometimes reverting checkpoint can be really, really punishing, and it can send you back really, really far. And it's definitely one of the things that makes this game quite a bit more difficult to run. Is that sometimes you get really good checkpoints, and they send you back pretty much like exactly where you would want it, and sometimes they can send you back like multiple minutes. There are like a couple of levels in the game, like Into the Abyss Chapter 1 is another example, where if you reload checkpoint, like anywhere in like a specific segment of the game, it can send you back like almost halfway back to like through the entire level. It's really, 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 really punishing.
It also gets even
I
worse
think
too if
I've
you run it on
also
console.
gotten a checkpoint where I messed up pressing the button in Blood and Rust, and it sent me back to the very beginning of the game. An entire minute of time loss.
Yeah, Blood and Rust is another one. There's a couple of levels where they have a bit of a reputation for giving you just really, really awful checkpoints.
Yeah, we also call those console checkpoints.
Console checkpoints are a treat. I think you guys can tell a story about how someone got put all the way back into Beacon 1.
Yeah, so this is a quirk because there are two levels in the game that are split into chapters that share the same map. So Effect and Cause 1 and Effect and Cause 3 share the same map, as well as Beacon 1 and Beacon 3 share the same map. And if you are in Beacon 3 and you mess up somewhere and reload checkpoint, and if you get really, really unlucky, you can get sent all the way back to where the start of Beacon 1 starts. So while you're still in the same level, you're basically sent two levels back, even though the objectives don't actually change.
And at that point, you're kind of soft locked if you haven't gotten the module.
Yeah, true. That is a very, very big run killer.
Yeah.
But yeah, the name console checkpoint refers to the fact that on console, we believe it's due to the speed of the hard drives that consoles are equipped with, that they can't quite write and load checkpoints. They can't read and write checkpoints as quickly as some PC hard drives can. So essentially what that means is sometimes the game can't make a save fast enough for you to reload to it. So it can send you back like basically 2 more than you would have on PC. And it's one of the many subtle advantages that PC has over console. Although the competitive advantages from PC to console are very, very minimal. There's not a lot of differences. But the console is pretty much equally viable to run the game on as PC. And we have a lot of people running on consoles that have achieved very, very good times.
Yeah, for example, Cash Mayo holds the world record for the gauntlet, and he is a controller runner, and also holds, I think, second place in the any percent run.
Yeah, he has I think he has the 119.21 in any percent, I believe.
Which is a monstrous time.
Yeah,
and yeah, if you're looking to get into speedrunning this game, it doesn't matter if you're a keyboard and mouse player or a controller player.
Yeah, definitely. You can run the game on anything. Keyboard and mouse has a bit of an advantage at a high level because it has access to strafe lurch, which we didn't talk about this, but strafe lurch, something we kind of touched on at the beginning of playing Rust, is a mechanic that when you press a direction, you get a lurch in that direction, but you also lose a bit of speed. So you could trade speed for maneuverability, and that is something that only works on digital inputs. So it works on keyboard and mouse, but it just doesn't work with analog inputs like a control stick. So that's one of the advantages that keyboard has over controller.
So now Nex is getting into Affecting Cause Chapter 3 and is attempting a glitch called Time Stop, where we stop time.
Yeah,
amazingly
I think we got a third try there.
Yeah.
So
now we can clip through the... Oh,
the stream jumped forward for me. That's
wow,
unfortunate
okay.
that we kind of missed that.
Yeah, okay, so here's what happened. Affecting Cause, all the levels in Affecting Cause are 2 different versions of the map stacked vertically on top of each other. And when you switch times, either like Affecting Cause 1 where the game does it for you, or Affecting Cause 2 and 3 where you do it yourself, you're basically teleporting between these 2 versions of the game. And what Nex did with the console there was confuse the game as to where we actually are, which causes us to basically teleport way up into the sky, and we can clip through walls in this manner.
Yeah, because swapping time doesn't actually affect our movement, so we can essentially like sprint and jump and time swap, basically teleporting up, but we can still like take that movement, and then once we time swap back, we can already be on the other side of the wall when we swap back. Which is essentially how that clipping works. We're not like really clipping through walls, but we're just kind of like teleporting. We're teleporting up so that we can avoid the wall entirely.
So, we are coming on to the Beacon Chapter 1, and in a while we will be closing the incentive for killing or saving the Marvin. So, this is your final call to get your donations in, to kill or spare the Marvin.
Please kill the Marvin. It will make all of us
Save
much
the
happier.
frames.
You don't even know how sad you will be if you actually save the Marvin. I'm telling you. You don't actually want to.
Beacon
There will
1
be
is another sort of short and sweet level where Nex gets ahead of BT and basically just does the job before the game makes us do it, where we just go ahead and kill the stalkers, which is another sequence break where we skip a lot of dialogue, and we need to go to the stalkers, kill them as fast as we can, and get back to BT as fast as we can in order to embark and skip a lot of the dialogue.
Yeah, and it's actually interesting because this it's very hard to lose time on this because BT at the beginning of the level is also he's locked into a scripted animation where he walks downhill and you can't embark on him before he is through that entire animation. So you do have quite a bit of wiggle room. That was something I don't think actually saved time, or maybe it does actually. It does,
like half a second.
I think it does take a little bit of time. It does look very wacky. You kind of disembark. It is in a form a disembark clip, so you get teleported outside, and then you get teleported back in. And
Yeah. Basically,
what
the
that
game
is
forces BT to the location where he does his dialogue.
Yeah, essentially it skips him like walking up to the captain to
yeah,
to
which
talk to
can
him.
sometimes be very finicky depending on where you put him.
Yeah,
Because like the pathfinding just needs to get to that spot.
yeah, sometimes BT needs to take like 5 full seconds to, like, if he's like 2 degrees off, he just needs to be like, okay, I gotta reorient myself, turn 90 degrees, turn 40 degrees, and then talk to the captain. And it's just kind of, it's like, you're a robot, you're supposed to find things quickly. Like you have like a big eye in the middle of your head and it's supposed to track things properly, but apparently.
Alright, let's see if Sanaka will do a pretty recent skip called Snuggle Skip. Snuggle Slide, I think. Okay, never mind.
I think
Snuggle Slide is a little strat we do where basically when we pull that bridge up with that button, the bridge is moving at a very fast speed, and if we can use the momentum by landing on the bridge while it's still extending, we can get an insane amount of speed to get through the corridors there very quickly.
Marvin, right?
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah,
The Marvin, the incentive. Are we
We are
killing or
saving. We
Oh,
are saving the Marvin.
No. How close was it?
Look, you just made him sad.
$15 was separated between save and kill.
You just made him sad. That's all you did.
I'm about to start crying, like the Marvin. You will be able to see how
So what Nex did
sad
there
the Marvin
is trying to do there is a skip called Kill Room Skip, where it basically just skips this this room where you have to get in and kill a bunch of enemies before the door opens for you. It saves about like 7 seconds, was it?
I think if done properly, it can save like up to like 10 to 13 seconds. I think.
Yeah.
It's
So
pretty significant,
this is,
but it's also very.
we're
very
coming
hard.
up on the Marvin that we were supposed to kill or
Yeah,
spare.
don't kill the Marvin.
Don't
you
kill
have
the
to spare
Marvin.
him.
Yeah.
You have to take this arc tool away from him.
Yeah, we had to find this arc tool to restore power to the
Look at
beacon.
Marvin. Look at his sad face. Look at
Now
that.
you've made him sad.
You have
You've made
doomed
him
him?
sad. You've
You
doomed
have-
him to an eternity of suffering. Like
No
when
one
he
is
had
ever
his
going
arc
to go
tool.
back down here. No one is
Yeah.
ever going to go back down here and give him the arc tool. You think
He
you're
had
gonna go back down here and give him the arc
he
tool?
had a purpose when he had that arc tool. Now he no longer has that, and he's going to be sad for the rest of his life.
You
You
took that away from him.
monsters!
You took that away from him.
You took away his purpose, and when you could have just put him out of his misery.
Yeah. In the short life that he's going to live throughout the rest of the game, you have doomed him to the rest of his life for sadness. Because at the end of the game, the entire planet explodes. So you have doomed the Marvin. Oh, that was great
Oh.
metal, by the way, from Nex.
Yeah, that is a one frame, I think also position perfect trick.
Yeah, that is, I think that is frame perfect. Also, Fizzy
Ooh,
Fan?
also fizzy fans,
Ooh,
where we use the
ooh.
fans that pushes really fast and just use that speed to essentially
Nex-
just blaze through that section.
Nex is clogging out of his gourd.
That's the
Okay,
that's the
and
inside
now
joke.
we're coming up to the Beacon Chapter 3 on Nexus End,
Wow,
which
he
is
way ahead of
another which is another one of the levels your friends won't shut up about. Because you might have seen this actually no, you can't because it's in Chinese, but it's foreshadowed here that BT will throw Cooper at like after this a really long cutscene where we have to power up the beacon, which is supposed to be able to kill us, but in reality you can go in there and go into the radioactive room, sit there, go make a sandwich, eat the sandwich, come back to the game, and you'll still be alive.
Maybe
like the fact that
read
he specifically
maybe
said
like
make
read
a
some comic
sandwich.
books, you know, while you're in there.
Yeah. It's supposed to be this radioactive room that's supposed to kill you in like 10 seconds, but no.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Like
it
the
doesn't
damage,
actually
the damage
you.
you see there, that Nex is taking, it's pretty much scripted.
Yeah, I think the damage that you take is tied entirely to how much progress you've made, but it
Yeah.
doesn't actually damage you beyond that. It doesn't actually like damage you over time. And it also gives you like a lot of regeneration in that room, so you basically you can't even kill yourself in that room if you tried.
Yeah. So
yeah, I
now
feel like
we are powering up the beacon, which we're supposed to contact the rest of the militia fleet in order to regroup, get our forces together, and also send the commander the intel we found out about this super weapon back in Effect and Cause.
I
But
like that Nex is doing like mini slant boosts right here. This is actually a really nice way to visualize how slant boosts work. Is essentially you touch a surface that you can't wall run, but it pushes you off as you're like sliding past it, and then you hit another surface that you can jump on. So you're basically getting pushed forward by a surface that's slanted, and then you land on another surface so you can jump out of it. It's actually a really nice way to visualize it there.
Update on the beacon, it has malfunctioned, and now we need to get another module from another satellite dish, which is where we will do a little, we'll do a glitch called Moon Boots, where we disembark in the middle of a Titan hover, which decreases our gravity by 15%, which we will now use parallel to another frame-perfect jump we will get out of BT's hand in order to get this trick called Super Fastball. Next, good luck with that.
Yeah, I feel like you said, this is another level that people won't shut up about. This is specifically the level that speedrunners and people who watch the speedrun won't shut up about, because this is probably the most iconic part of the run. So I'm just gonna not say anything for this.
Alright, let's use Fastball. Oh, going for Deluxe. So Super Fastball Deluxe is a little derivation from the normal fastball route, where we grab the gravity stars we're supposed to get at oh, the stream died a little.
I'm crying. That was so good, but then
That was so good as well, yeah.
I
Oh my
can't
God.
believe it.
So the normal
Oh,
fastball route, you are supposed to go to the very end of to the other end of the platforms, get a bunch of gravity stars, and use the damage boost from that to boost yourself to the satellite dish, which skips having to move the dish over to you. Which is about like a minute or so.
That is so unfortunate that the stream buffered in the middle of that.
Right in the middle of the
Yeah.
highlight of the speedrun.
But at least we did get to see a pretty sizable portion of Super Fastball Deluxe, which is like a significantly harder version of Super Fastball, because it basically, it's like a slight route variation, but pretty much all of the things you have to do much more precise. And it's just so you can grab the gravity stars a bit earlier, so you don't have to go out of your way to get them later. And it's a really hard trick that only saves about like 7 seconds, but it's incredibly cool to watch.
So
I'm seeing
we're,
Nex stream again here.
we're seeing Sanaka have a little bit of trouble with his kill room skip,
Yeah.
which is a really hard skip that even I can't get.
Yeah, kill room skip is
consistently.
definitely, it's commonly regarded as one of the hardest tricks, one of the hardest like single skips in the game.
Yeah, it's a really big test of fundamentals, which is air strafing, strafe forge, double jumping at the right time, etc., etc.
They saw Nex just got the gravity star boost. That's the one that you go for. It obviously, ideally you would want to get that first try, but that's essentially what you
Now
you gain
the
from
stream
doing
just
the
skipped
left
forward to this trick called Zipless, where we use the momentum from one gravity star throughout this entire section of platforms to
and skip forward again.
to jump over the zip lines, not having to use that.
By the stream skipping forward, we essentially skipped the zip line. So you may have like briefly seen that there was a zip line like next to the You skipped it in our hearts. But you could probably see like briefly that there was a zip line connecting like the big gap, and if you have enough speed, you can carry that speed over the gap with just one big jump, which is what zipless essentially is.
So now we're just in this fight sequence, this really long and annoying to a lot of people fight sequence, where we have to kill every single one of these very small enemies, which can sometimes hide like ants. So this is why we see like Nex getting out and
It was kind of scary.
Yeah, stalkers, when you shoot their backs, they explode and deal a lot of damage, which can easily kill you.
If you're not
That was a
careful,
little scary.
they
Yes,
can-
grab the helmet for good luck. So now that we've dealt with all the enemies, what we are usually supposed to do here is have BT throw us again, but we can do these. Oh,
Yep, we
okay.
can just teleport up to the dish.
What Nex did was just a long sequence of wall jumps in order to just get up to the dish without having BT throw us. Which
Yeah, but
I don't know how much that saves, but it saves a lot again.
Yeah, it saves quite a bit of time because it skips a lot of like scripted animations. But there's a small part of the dish where it's just like two walls that are very close to each other that like stretch all the way up, and you can literally just like spam jump to get all the way up.
Also, we just had BT break our spine by catching us from that fall, but we're still gonna continue on
Actually,
because fast is important.
I actually just remembered, but no one reminded me to save the Marvin.
No.
Oh,
I killed him out of pure muscle memory.
runs dead.
Runs dead. No.
We called this like before the run even started. We called this as that someone's gonna just immediately kill the Marvin just for muscle memory because that's the strat that you usually do.
It's okay.
I'm
at
sorry,
least-
Sanaka, but you're gonna have to move back into the beginning of Beacon 2 and do the entire level again without killing Marvin.
Oh no, whatever shall I do?
It's okay. You saved one Marvin somewhere in the level, so I guess that counts.
I guess it counts because the donation incentive was save the Marvin and not the Marvins, right?
Yeah.
So technically we didn't break any rules.
So we're coming up on the Richter fight where Nex had to kill a bunch of Reapers, and now a bunch of Titans. Which are really annoying to deal with most of the time. But now we get to Richter, and we have this big mecha sword. But
it's probably
since
this is probably the
this
most
is,
frustrating cutscene in the entire
yeah.
game.
Since we have the Leave loadout, now we have this very long monologue that Richter does, where the turrets or Cooper or anyone could have easily just shot him straight in the head, but they don't, because reasons.
Because
And now we're just gonna
plot.
bash him over the head with this giant sword
Yeah, and
and have
we've literally
him explode
we've
because
literally
we're so
tried
fast.
we've literally tried by just modding the game to see if you could kill him, but no, he's just completely invincible in that cutscene. Nex's stream is buffing there, but what he did there, you could kind of see a little bit of it, but you could kind of see he was doing another disembark clip, which there's like a whole setup that you can do where you disembark clip like into it, and then you
Into the room and then out of it,
re-embark.
which saves
and then you
a
get
grand
teleported back out.
total of 0 seconds because this is a scripted sequence where
Actually-
we wait for a bunch of dialogue and actually, yeah,
that
yeah,
specific setup saves about like a bit over a second. I think like 1.25 seconds, because one, it makes the platform move up that BT's supposed to get on and makes it move up a little bit earlier,
Oh,
and
true,
also
yeah.
teleports BT to the place where he needs to talk to the captain again.
Great.
So it's the
Okay,
same. It's
Sonic
kind
is
of
also
the same
coming up
kind of
on
trick
Super
as in
Fastball.
Beacon 1.
Yep.
Oh yeah, well we'll get to see Sanaka probably do the regular version of Super Fastball.
Yeah.
It won't
So-
be
So
so
that the stream doesn't buffer again in the middle of it all, so we can actually see the whole thing.
Yeah, I think Sanaka's stream should be fine. We have a bit of time to look at Sanaka's stream because Nex is kind of stuck in a big old cutscene.
Yeah, I
Basically, Sarah here is saying to BT after, hey, why did you link with a rifleman? I'm gonna get you a proper pilot. And BT's like, no. Just, no, don't.
Oh, let's see the Super Fastball here.
Alright.
bit rusty.
Oh.
Ooh. Might save it. a
Oh,
little
just
bit. Okay.
barely missed the walk. I didn't quite have
Ah.
enough height for that.
Yeah,
But
I
you didn't die. You didn't die. That's
Didn't
didn't
the
die.
important
Didn't
part.
die.
Yeah.
Though. I'll admit that. Yeah.
Yeah, the checkpoints on this level when you do fastball are really annoying and evil, and will just reset you back to like somewhere in the middle of all these platforms with 0 speed. So you have to do that entire sequence pretty much with the casual route.
Yeah, so it's a bit unfortunate. We did at least get to see like the first half of Super Fastball, and we did get to see a very nice backup for it if you mess up. Here's
So now on Nex's end, we are on to Trial by Fire.
we did get to see the other setup for the Gravity Star boost on Sanaka's screen there.
Yeah,
That's the regular one.
Yeah.
That's essentially the box full of Gravity Stars. That's essentially what we skip by doing the deluxe route, where we
Yeah.
get to just get on the
So,
big platform and do it.
Trial by Fire, or on the inside it was called T-Day because, I mean, look at it, it kind of looks like Normandy. Where this is a very annoying level for speedrunners because it's essentially a glorified escort mission where we have to escort Commander Sarah Briggs to an elevator, and once we do that, we're pretty much free to go as fast as we can. But for now, we have to kill a bunch of Titans, which will spawn a second wave of Titans, and once we clear out a sufficient number of them, next we'll get a certain dialogue, which basically tells you that, okay, the door is open, you can progress in the level now. And Sanaka gonna do zipless?
Yeah, we didn't quite get to see zipless from Sanaka because the wall kicks were all a little bit.
Yeah, it was good at first, but I admit that the last two were kind of what killed it, unfortunately.
Yeah, the Gravity Star boost at the beginning was nice.
Thank you,
Essentially, what you would do is you would keep the entire speed from that first Gravity Star boost and build on top of it using wall kicks. And if you can keep that speed, it's definitely one of the cooler looking segments in the game.
That dropship strat, by the way, where I killed all those points during in the ship. Would like to thank Ed Smitty for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
thank
thank you, Ed Smitty. Smitty,
Don't worry,
Smitty,
I
or Spectral
got you.
Smitty, yeah, is the name of the person that discovered this little optimization.
Yeah, it doesn't save you a lot of time, but it does make this
also looks
fight
very
overall
cool, yeah.
a lot less painful, I'll admit.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Even
now
if
we're
it doesn't
escorting.
take time, it is a lot nicer to do.
So there's Sarah. We're escorting her through this tunnel where a bunch of Titans spawn and there's a bunch of grunts. And if we don't kill pretty much all of them, Sarah will almost certainly get stuck trying to kill just a bunch of grunts. This is supposed to be a very time-sensitive moment in the game, but Sarah just decides to take her time to kill each individual grunt there.
Yeah.
Next getting very close to death there. Okay, we're good. Yeah. Is Sarah in a good position? Let's see if Sarah's right behind us. Oh, okay, that was actually surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Sarah's position there.
And to
So
add
now we're
insult
gonna
to injury,
see-
because Sarah is usually very slow, she does still like to say, "Come on, keep up with me," as if she was running ahead of you, even though you're already like. You're
She
already
also
waiting
says
at the elevator.
here. She also says here. That was the easy part. When in fact, no, it really wasn't.
It really
So here
wasn't
we're gonna
easy,
use
but-
our sword core, which basically, apart from being a really powerful sword, also refills our Titan dashes a lot quicker than usual, so we can just blaze through this entire section and not kill any Titans except for the ones we really need to build up our core again, so we can get going faster all over again.
So this
We're
was a
gonna
subtle
kill these,
thing, but I noticed one of the things I really liked about Nex's gameplay there was the placement of his phase dash. Usually, the first phase dash he would do a little bit earlier to get a lot of a lot of speed from going down a slope. But he actually held onto it for a little bit because the Ronin in front of him was in an unfortunate spot. And a phase dash both gives you a lot of speed, but it also allows you to travel through enemies. And if you had phase dashed earlier there, he would have gotten caught on the run. So that was actually some very nice awareness from Nex earlier there. That I'd just like to point out.
And now we're getting to the end of Trial by Fire, where we also see the Super Brutes just flying towards the ship, which is a little glitch. And okay, that was a cutscene anyway, so yeah, the stream started buffering there. Now we see Sanaka in the middle of Richter fight, having a little bit of trouble with the other Titans just running away for some odd reason.
I missed the last shot in my tone gun, so I had a bit of a funny moment there.
the funny moment.
The
It's funny.
funny moment.
Again, We could have killed Richter this entire time while he's doing his little monologue, his little German monologue, but no.
Theoretically. Oh yeah, that is one of the funny things, that Richter is actually a German character, but it's incredibly funny because the game is set in Mandarin Chinese. He does speak German, but also in Chinese. It's a Chinese voice actor trying to speak German, and it's very amusing. As a German, it's very amusing.
I always thought it was just
very
like
interesting
them just like dubbing the English voice acting into the Mandarin one, to be honest.
Right, so now we're getting onto the arc here, and for some reason Nex isn't starting the level.
Just wait.
Yeah. I think there's a lot that we can talk about the arc.
Yeah, okay, so the arc is a very, very buggy level from a speedrun perspective. Yeah, because essentially there is no solid ground, and it's just a bunch of platforms or ships just moving around, and this level also has a fall timer. Basically, if you go downwards for a certain amount of time, the game will automatically just kill you, which is a bit of a bottleneck for a lot of people, where if you do certain strats slightly wrong, it could put you in a sort of death loop where you can just die over and over again while reverting back to the checkpoint. So yeah, the arc is another run killer, despite it being the next to last level. And Nex just clips into the ship there.
Oh yeah, that's a fun thing you can do. It doesn't save any time, at least not that we know of. It's just a fun thing you can do.
So here's Viper, the best villain subjectively. Objectively.
Objectively
speaking, the best villain ever to exist. So now he's gonna shoot down our ship, and then we are going to see BT wave at us from a very long distance, and then Barker X Machina with BT just teleporting. With BT just teleporting above the ship again.
I'm dumb.
So here we're going to do, Nex is going to do a skip called Barker Skip, where we get onto the ship of the 6-4 early, skipping the cutscene where BT froze us. Oh, first try!
Ooh,
Didn't even need the frag boost for that one. That
is very lucky. Yeah, basically the movement of the ships there is purely based on RNG. So not needing the frag boost there is basically the best case scenario for that skip.
Sometimes Barker himself can kind of screw you over, and the grenade will just like fall off for no reason at all, despite you throwing in pretty much like the exact same way as you usually always would throw it.
Yeah.
What we saw there for a bit was also 6-4 skip, where we jump off the ship of the 6-4 a bit early, but the stream cut off right where...
Of course it did.
There we go, okay, we're back. So...
Welcome back to the land of the living.
So now we need to take out these 3 gun batteries, which are shooting down a lot of the malicious ships. Except we don't need to kill all 3 of the people operating the guns, we just need to kill the last one.
Yeah, the last one is the only one that the game progression is actually tied to. If you just ignore the first 2 and kill the first, and then kill the third, the only thing you then need to wait for is for the 6-4 to actually arrive at your position and start, disembarking from their ship.
You also need to do this sequence kind of fast, because if you don't, the grunts behind you will activate all the stalkers, which are really annoying to deal with, because you can see that they soak up a lot of bullets before they die.
Yeah, you definitely saw that happen to Nex there. That was pretty unfortunate that he had to kill more stalkers than he
and stream is buffering again.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
Oh no.
So another trick that we will hopefully see Nex do is early Sarah, which we jump on Sarah's ship before we have this little cutscene where the 6-4 tell her to close the doors, and then we wall run into the next sequence, the next fight sequence. But what Nex will do is just jump onto the ship earlier than we're supposed to, and just there we go. Okay. and just skip having to wait for that little cutscene. So
Yeah, so while Nex's stream is buffering, we're probably going to focus on Sanaka's gameplay for a bit. Still on trial by fire, but doing the same kind of route. You can definitely see, you know, having a little bit of trouble with the sports there, but the same kind of thing here applies. You have to escort Sarah all the way to the end, and it's very important to kill like as many people as you can in this. You have to kill as many grunts as possible, and there is a set route for killing the Titans. There are specific times where you need to sword core to get as much damage in as possible, and you also need to make sure that at the end of this segment you do have your core available, because it definitely what that means is that after getting out of the elevator you can start sword coring immediately. So that's one of the things that you have to watch out for, which is what the
Sanaka, make sure to menu for Ion.
Thanks for reminding.
Oh, yeah,
I actually
true.
almost forgot. Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't know if Nex did that, actually.
I think I saw Nex do that at the beginning. So menuing for Ion, for those that don't know, is essentially the inputs that you do is essentially you just get out of the level and then load back into the level from level select. Because when you're going from level to level just without going back to the menu, the Titan loadouts and the equipment that you have available is always based on what you had before that. So whatever equipment you have always carries over, almost always. There are a couple exceptions, but most of the time the equipment carries over. And when you load into a level from level select, there's a set loadout that you have for that level, and one of the things
it basically
that you have,
assumes that you've grabbed everything so far.
Yeah, exactly. And when you load into the arc, the game assumes that you've already picked up Ion, even if you haven't. And it allows us to do a strat that we call Viper Zerg. It was found and developed by Reginald, who currently holds the any percent no cutscenes world record, and is a very good player overall. I think he described himself as a very good player that just happens to speedrun. He doesn't even like mainly speedrun the game. I think he's just mostly a competitive player, but he's just so good at the game that he just kind of destroyed everyone, and like even in the speedrunning scene.
Yeah. We had a tournament not so long ago, Mach 1 March, where Reginald basically just came back from, I think, he wasn't like running a lot before the tournament started, right? Basically, he just came in and just swooped up of a victory there. He won first place out of nowhere.
It was pretty incredible to see, because that was like a huge tournament as well. We had like it was like the first tournament that we ever organized, like the first big tournament that we ever organized, and we had like 80 entrants, and like pretty much the entirety of the top 10 runners were participating. But Reginald's, just being the absolute legend that he is, just kind of swooped in and just took everything.
And his seed was like pretty low too, considering his 80%. His 80% run was considered, I believe it was like a 128-ish. Like even I have like a higher time than actually no.
I think his standard 80% time right now is like a 122.
Is it?
I think he has a 122. I think he
I had no clue.
He's been like in the top for very long. I'm gonna check on speedrun.com/Titanfall_2. If you're interested in running this game, you can go to
advertise. Self-promotion.
Yeah, he's currently in standard 80%. He's in 8th place with a 122.27, and that run is like a year old. So that run has stood for a very long time. So I think that just goes to show
that was the menuing that we're supposed to do to get Ion.
Almost.
Yeah, and that way we're kind of tricking the game into thinking we've picked up Ion when we really haven't. And well, the idea behind Viper Zerg is that we essentially, in most boss fights, you don't only have the boss itself, but you also have a couple of other titans. Like for Kane fight, for example, in Blood and Rust, you have both Kane at the back of the room, and you have one brute that's coming along with him. And in the Viper fight, you don't only have Viper, but you also have 2 Scorches that spawn on right at the beginning of the map.
Yeah, Scorches are also one of the 2 titans that have like the highest health in the game. So
yeah, they're very tanky.
Yeah.
And,
so what we do in Viper Zerg is basically we kill Viper first, which we kill Viper first and use the core from that to very quickly kill the 2 Scorches as well.
Yeah, exactly. So
Which
the idea
we will
behind,
hopefully see now.
yeah, the idea behind doing it in that order is that all of the bosses, usually when you kill them, have like a really long like death animation, and they take a really long time to die. So what we're skipping essentially, or we're not really skipping anything as much as we're just using the time of the long death animation to take out some other enemies while we're at it, because the game can't actually progress until we've cleared the entire arena. And with just 2 quick sword core swipes, if we're very lucky, we can use 2 very quick sword core swipes to kill both of the
Scorches simultaneously. Yeah.
very quickly.
All right, we're coming up on Barker skip on Sanaka's side
We're
now.
kind of getting ahead of ourselves. Let's first take a look at Barker skip.
Because next, I think so far is like on the stream.
Oh, that was a really good boost, but that was very unfortunate.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate RNG there.
But that definitely seems doable if you just pull the nade like a little bit later. We'll see.
Basically, here we just want to get the biggest boost possible of this grenade, but without also, you know, killing ourselves with the explosion.
Exactly
That was a little bit.
I feel like
Oh my, did I commentate this, Garcia?
I feel like you might have said that just to curse me, Dorito.
Okay. Let's see if
having a bad day with the burger skip today. Yeah.
Yeah, so the idea usually behind like timing the time when you pull your frag is because the next floor they move and then they move back in. And if you pull it a little bit later, it tends to line up a bit better with when they're a little bit closer.
Okay, Nexus stream seems to be back now.
So,
Yeah, there we go.
we're back.
Ah, there we go.
And now we're getting into Kane fight right now.
That's
I
fine.
mean, Viper fight. Yeah, sorry.
But Sanaka does do Barker skip very clean
Oh,
on
yes.
3rd, 4th try.
On your
that was the
very
third.
It was
first
first
try.
That was
First try.
third try, but yeah, it's the first try. Yeah.
And then, yeah, this is a perfect example of 6-4 skip. Basically, and now we just wait for this elevator to open up. Just get behind these grunts. We don't need to kill them.
Next is now
Now we're
piloting the
seeing,
ship. The piloting ship segment
and we
doesn't
just
seem like
killed
much,
Viper.
but it is actually a very
And there we go.
very-
That is a very good example of Zerg Viper. Right before the stream starts buffering a little again.
I just realized the stream was way behind on the video. So I was still
we just
commenting
saw
about the piloting segment.
this roundabout trip you just saw BT go on was just basically his pathfinding, trying to get this to this certain spot. And oh no, Viper is back from the dead.
Oh no!
Who could have anticipated this? And basically the
Absolutely
result
no
of
one.
Viper Zerg is basically we get this very foggy sky now. And this means that there's a wall coming at us, which we have to equip out of. So basically, there's a box which the level plays out on, and if we do Zerg Viper, we get ahead of that box, and that wall that comes in, that starts pushing us, is basically the boundaries of the level, like pushing us. And if we don't get back into the boundaries quick enough, the level will kill us. So it's so the way we clip back into the level is by a little ledge that we just do a little animation through, which hopefully gets us out of the wall, which we just saw Nyx do. And now we get into another cutscene. Very long cutscenes, and for now we can focus on Sanaka's side of Viper fight.
A little bit scary on that room clear.
On the health, yeah.
Got a lot of damage there.
It was a
But
bit spooky,
ended
but
up- ended
I had
up
to cloak
with
there.
Just fine.
Next is one of the couple of dramatic W holds, where you just hold W as dramatic music just plays around you.
Sadly,
Yeah, the
he
highlight of
doesn't
the
have
highlight
audio.
of the game is where it's just
Yeah.
a big cutscene and it tells you to hold W, and you just have to hold W and be like, okay, get on with it.
Basically what we've done here in the game is we are trying to get this super weapon, this blue ball you saw on next side, which is called the Arc. That is the super weapon which we've learned so far that it can destroy entire planets, and that is what the IMZ have done to this to Typhon's moon.
Yeah, so now on Sanaka's screen we're seeing the pilot ship segment, which I was saying something about earlier. This doesn't look like much, but this can actually be pretty scary because at the end of this there is a chance that the game either just kills you or just crashes to menu. And it looks like Sanaka got lucky. There are like newer like strategies that have been found, as in just like waiting half a second before you actually start interacting with it to make it like more consistent, because we don't actually like 100% know like why the tournament.
Oh wow, we skipped way ahead on Nexus stream. Holy heck!
Yeah,
Oh geez, yeah.
we're talking about like the pilot and the ship, and it's like,
Yeah, we basically the Nexus internet just made the stream skip ahead like minutes ahead, like skipping an entire.
Oh my god. Is Nick splicing his marathon race right now?
I can't
Fighting marathon race live on stream.
Who's main?
I feel like that's.
Yeah, basically, the stream just skipped an entire pilot section, which we're supposed to, we will see on Sanaka's side once they're done with Viper fight and the Arc.
That was
a little bit
messy.
of trouble with the Scorched area.
The two Scorchers were just like hugging each other for some reason.
They were best
On the
friends.
Nexus side, we are getting into Swoon Fight, which is the final boss of this game. Here there's a bunch of Marvins which can slow us down a lot by colliding into them.
Yeah, Nex is actually getting pretty close to the end of the game here. This is the final boss fight in the game, and once that's done, there's one big cutscene, but after that, it comes like the last segment of the game that's like 30 seconds of like really intense movement. And
Escape sequence.
in the escape sequence, there's a strat that was named after me because you know, naming things after people called Zweescape. I don't know if Nex is gonna be going for that, but that would be that would be pretty epic because it's a pretty cool strat, but it's also very risky because you know, the way the platforms can move in the escape sequence can sometimes mess you up and shoot you off.
It's basically a similar thing to the Arc, where there's just a bunch of moving platforms that are very buggy in certain cases.
Oh my God.
And we recently had a lost world record to having a runner collide, like just clip into a rock.
We're kind of like how
Losing
we
them
completely
like
ignored
15.
Sonaka just shooting Viper in the face like 100 times.
That was a love letter to all the Valkyrie mains in Apex.
Yeah, I was about to say like, oh my god, Sonaka killed Valkyrie's dad. This is so sad.
And did you do Andy shot next? Oh yeah, okay. So this is Andy shot where we're not supposed to have a gun in this cutscene, but by triggering our sword core at the same time as we pull out the arc injector, basically just getting into the cutscene, we can get the Legion minigun into the cutscene where Blisk gets on top of our Titan and basically gives us this bad guy mercenary monologue. And we are going to change the timeline here and prevent Apex from ever becoming a thing by murdering Blisk.
Apex is now non-canon.
in speedrunner canon, Apex never actually existed.
Yeah. And we just see this floating card that comes out of nowhere. And this, as well as being one of the most entertaining skips to look at, it also saves like nearly 30 seconds because we skip so much dialogue.
Yeah, I think it's like 30 to 40 seconds. It's a pretty huge skip, and this is like often said in marathons, but it's kind of a miracle that it doesn't like crash or soft lock the game.
Yeah, it's basically the same with like how you can kill Richter in the beginning. So there's another trick we can do here, which is called pre-charge, where essentially we just need to do Sloan fight extremely quickly, which also saves like, what was it, like 10 seconds?
10
I think 10
seconds,
seconds on
yeah.
top of that.
Yeah, and if we do that, default weapon here just fires BT, which, by the way, lore-wise, BT's in a pretty roughed up shape now. And
Yeah.
we're basically using his exposed reactor core to blow up the Ark, which will have some unintended consequences of blowing up the planet.
Yeah, you can see already in
Spoilers.
this, all the lights are off. If Nex had gotten pre-charge, all of these lights would have already been on, and it would have skipped this entire sequence of the
This
lights
entire power-up sequence.
turning on one after the other, and lights would have already been on.
It's also one of the more newly, like, majorly discovered skip too. So it's still being somewhat adopted by a lot of runners.
Yeah, and in the grand scheme of things, that was definitely one of the more recent skips.
Yeah.
So on Sanaka's side, we're just getting into the fold weapon.
Here we get to see a
We
tape from
skipped
Nex. This
this.
is gonna be interesting.
Okay, yeah, let's see here.
This is the last.
Which,
This is the last pilot segment. So time is actually coming up for Nex in about like 10 to 20 seconds.
I am
okay.
very far behind.
No.
Got this cutscene.
Oh
So
my God.
basically, on Sanaka's side, Blisk
guy
is
would have
threatening
never
us.
known.
Oh my God, are we gonna miss time because of Nex's internet? Wow.
Once the stream refreshes, just like immediately hit time.
I've died already, so
功能受
you might
Oh,
not
no.
be done by the time.
严重冲击伤害影响。
Maybe the
So-
stream will catch up before the gameplay.
It's okay, I'm still here.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Just my-
So Blisk is
Sign up for us.
threatening us to get BT to open up and give him the Ark, which BT does not want to do, obviously.
You can see Nex's gameplay after a refresh again. Yep. Oh my God, barely missing the last platform.
Barely. Oh my God.
Oh my god.
And that was
Kind of choke city at the end of the skate, but at least we get to see the end.
yeah. That is gonna be time for next.
Alright.
Blisk
I
does a little flip and disappears into the floor.
yeah, I just started fold here, so I am pretty behind, but no longer
That's okay.
any pace.
At least we get to see the entire level like in full without any buffering.
Yeah, that is true.
So, Sloan just kind of rips the Ark out of BT despite Blisk telling her not to. And Sloan just
You can also watch this in the glorious
murders.
texture streaming of like 0.
Oh,
Everything is low poly.
Sloan murders BT. BT is dead, and we will never ever see him again.
Roll credits.
Roll
Except
credits.
that we did already.
Except we did
see
already.
him.
Yeah.
So there's no point in really pretending like the story is surprising us because we've
Yeah.
already seen it.
So we're gonna walk into the fire to pretend to kill ourselves to get BT to talk to us.
No one
Yeah,
knows.
that's-
No one knows why it does that. Honestly, it's like the depth thing is like, oh, like what if the player killed himself? So it's like, I don't know, get BT to talk.
I think it's just a certain distance away from BT that triggers it before the
I-
timer does.
I would guess so. Yeah, I would guess it has something to do with.
So
with
now
distance
BT
rather than
just
killing it.
rips his face out of his rips his face off and gives us this essentially aimbot pistol and another data knife, which is the another plot device that we can just hack into whatever we want to, basically, and we're gonna use it despite already having one on our player model.
The one,
Don't mind that.
the one pistol that
we're
every
gonna-
epic player wants.
Yeah. We're gonna just hack into this keyboard here to open this door. And there we go. And now we get into this intense pilot section.
And a little bit of a.
We're waiting for our jump kit to... Oh, a little...
For a
yeah.
second, I thought that was the stream lagging, but no, that's just
No,
that's
that's
just a
just,
hit that the game can do when,
Yeah.
when it draws
The-
the tracking line.
Yeah, the game does that every time. The first time you like do something with the smart pistol, like lock onto an enemy, just a little hitch that the game takes to draw the lines and everything that goes towards the target.
Yeah, and it only does that like the first time when you load into the level.
First time
so
around, yeah.
what you can do for runs and what a lot of people do is when they do run attempts, they just like once they boot up their game, the first thing they do is they just load into the fold weapon and then clear that hitch so that it doesn't happen during run attempts.
Today,
It can like, you know, you kind of saw on Sanaka, it like lagged for like 2 to 3 seconds, which is essentially like 2 to 3 seconds lost in the run, which is not ideal when you're going for a PB.
Yeah, something not completely, but sort of out of our control if we didn't do the, if we don't load into the cold weapon before we start our run.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the setup that you have, like the PC setup. Sometimes, like some people have really long hitches, and some like barely have any hitch at all. And for some people, it varies a lot. So it's
So here we get our new Titan, which we put in the data core that BT ripped out of his face, and we're gonna use this Titan to essentially just clear out the rest of this section and get to the Sloan fight, which we just saw on Nex's end. Let's see if it'll turn out differently for Sanaka. Are you gonna do Snuggle Core?
I'm gonna try.
looks like it.
Yeah. Didn't get a really good one at all. I'll admit.
Yeah, Snuggle Core can be a little random, in my experience at least, which is why I personally don't do it in runs. But it does have potential to like get you a lot of core really quickly. You basically can get like, I think 2/3 of the way there with just like one ability, which is really fast.
Yeah, the reason we built up core is here is to just have our sword core, which basically just lets us do these really like fast dashes all over the place, so we can get to the end of the sequence here, where we clip into this door, which just again doesn't have a. Oh.
I am having a lot of trouble with this. I don't know
Having
why.
a bit of trouble with the door here.
Yeah.
It can be like really finicky if you miss it the first time.
Yeah, there we go.
Basically, the very top of the door
Right.
doesn't have collision, so we can just go right through it. We can
swear,
also do this with a Titan as well, but it's usually when we don't mess it up like this, faster to do it with just Cooper.
Yeah, doing it with a Titan is quite a bit safer, but it is a little bit slower. It's within like a couple seconds at most. I would say probably even like only a second. So it's not like a huge difference, but it is
for
faster.
someone like me too, it's definitely a bit of a much like safer standard strat for someone like me who hasn't really been able to maximize my movement yet.
So now we're getting into Swoon fight again.
Yep.
Let's see how it turns out for Sanaka. Basically, all of these boss fights just have a specific strat we do. Every time we switch to certain loadouts to skip reload animations, do a lot of damage very quickly, and also clear out like any Titans and Reapers that spawn in.
That Scorch is running away from me really
Oh
far.
wow, yeah.
Wow.
That is a rare
He
one.
just
That happens
noped out
rarely.
of there.
That doesn't
Wow,
happen
that-
very often.
Did not want to be there at all.
I think that just killed any chances of pre-charge.
Actually, if Sanaka can still get like a really fast sword core off the 3 Reapers, this might still possibly get it.
Yeah, I think that phase.
Although he has some distance on him, so this is unfortunate. Yeah, missing that swipe, that's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pre-charge gone there,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
that's one of the limitations of Sword Core is you only get about 3 to 4 hits before you run out. So we really have to be really precise with our swipes there. And that's Sloan dead, and
That should
yeah.
still be Andy Shot though, which
That
is
should- yeah.
Andy Shot is actually, if you're curious, Andy Shot is something you can actually do yourself. It's actually pretty easy to pull off. Because literally the only thing you need to do is after killing Sloan, you need to make sure that you have your core ready. You just swap to Ronin, you core, and then immediately after you start interacting with the Arc Injector. And then its timing is pretty lenient, but as long as you just hit V and then E, it's pretty free.
yeah.
Now it's my
Andy
turn.
Shot
Everything
was
I just said was like kind of
discovered by
unintentionally right.
Now it's
Andy
my
Shot was
turn to be
discovered by
panned.
a Reddit user called Shot Andy, and
Oh, yeah,
now
okay.
changed the timeline, where he just figured out how to kill Blisk and posted it to Reddit, saying, "Hey, look at this! I killed Blisk. Isn't that a cool glitch?" And someone posted that to one of our top runners stream, basically saying, "Hey, look at this funny." And what we discovered then is that this actually saves a load of time.
Yeah. A lot of
So this very entertaining little glitch you see is just part of an essential part of the run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And once
it's
that's over,
definitely. No, go ahead.
Once that's over, it's another segment of just holding W while really intense music plays, and
Yeah, exactly. Another
if you play
dramatic
through the
W.
campaign like 100 times, it gets old after a while. Like for the first time, it's like, oh my god, this is so emotional, but like once you played it 100 times, you're just like, okay, when can I let go of W? When can I just sit back and wait for the thing to shoot me out?
I think it's at like this point where you can stop holding.
Yeah, I think
A lot of
once-
people
once
just
you
do
get-
it throughout the entirety of the cutscene just to be safe.
Yeah.
Just like nerves. It's like I know holding W here won't make a difference, but what if it will?
It's like in racing games, the harder you press the key, the harder you turn.
Yeah,
Also,
and,
this sadly
you know,
will
if
not be
you
a
lean
sub
your
9.
head to the side, it also makes you turn faster.
This sadly will not be a sub 9 because of how horrible this one was.
Yeah, it's been pretty rough all throughout.
Yeah, really a really rough one on my end. There are a lot of tricks that I surprisingly I never really missed them during practice, but for some reason during the actual marathon, it's like bada bing bada boom. It's just there, I guess.
Yeah, I mean nerves can really change how you play.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely. I mean, this is also something that I've noticed, like in the tournament that we did. Nothing hits like quite as hard as tournament nerves, and it's
Yeah.
it can
That's-
definitely impact your play quite a lot.
For sure.
And time is coming up for Sanaka in a little bit. After don't clip into the rock.
Time.
Very nice.
That is time. Yeah.
That was really that was pretty good for a marathon. I'll admit it's 2 minutes better than my submission run.
I mean, yeah, that's anything we can take. So that's
Yeah. Next, what was your time?
yeah. I'm curious to see what the like. Oh yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
It was a really good run though, so I'm gonna guess.
Did you not
Wow.
have light split on next?
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I had a light spot on, but it just didn't start.
Unfortunate. My timer stopped at 1:30:40.
1:30:40.
Yeah.
30-40.
Pretty good, I would
Yeah,
say.
so
Yeah, pretty good.
in real time, unfortunately, we went a little bit overestimate, but I think maybe you'll be able to forgive us.
I mean,
We-
I
tried our
think you can be forgiven this time. It's not again. No kidding. But that was an amazing race and an amazing run. Thank you guys so much for coming and showing this off. This was so much fun to watch.
yeah, no
Yeah, thanks for
problem.
having us.
I hope, despite all the internet issues, Nex got to show off a lot of cool stuff there. Really wish he was able to show off like the entirety of Super Fastball Deluxe, because it seemed like he was able to nail it off. But
Yeah.
it's just unfortunate that he just
Yeah, that was
the
a really,
internet was
really
just
unfortunate
not in his
loss.
favor. For sure.
Nevertheless, very good showing from both players.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, good stuff from both
Obviously, was really hoping I was able to perform a little bit better than what I could usually do. But
I mean, yeah,
regardless,
there's always next time.
obviously, always next time. I'm definitely happy with this performance. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. I guess next, do you have any shout outs you want to do?
Yeah, thanks for commenting. Carol, I'm pretty sure know it. They still doing it with the commenting.
Oh, this is
That mirror is next having a moment
yeah,
here.
just like almost nothing.
He's having a British moment. I guess I can give out my shout outs. I mean, I guess, shout outs to Viz, Useweek, Dorito as well. Entirety of the Titanfall 2 speedrun community. They're pretty much the best speedrun community I've ever been in. The best community, like, period, honestly, out of all the communities I've been in. I've been in many different communities. Like, this one has to be the best one I've ever been in. Shout out to people who, you know, support me in the VTuber discords. There's a lot of people in there who are just overall just supportive of me just running this game and just speedrunning games in general. I like to like talk about speedrunning a lot in those kind of discords, and they always just like are just like super supportive about it. So definitely wouldn't keep running without them. I think that's all I have. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess Brionado for inspiring me to get started into the speedrunning Titanfall 2 in the first place. I'm sure a lot of us are got into Titanfall by Brionado. So.
Yeah, I feel like most of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are looking to get into running this game, it is, from what I've experienced so far, a pretty good starter game. This was my first speed game that I've played, and it is surprisingly easy to get into. We have one of the most, we have a very supportive community in the Titanfall speedrunning Discord. If you're interested in running this game, head on over to our speedrun.com page, join the Discord, and you know you can get started there.
Yeah, and if you have like any questions regarding like how a certain thing works, or maybe you have if you want to just figure out how to get started, you know, we're able to help you out. We have a whole help and troubleshooting channel just for those kind of things. And
even if it's things that we didn't explain in this round, you can still join in and ask.
Yeah,
someone will definitely give you an answer.
There definitely are a lot of things that we didn't necessarily go over in this run. Even there's certain things that both Nex and I didn't really even do properly. A good example would be Let's Never Slide. I don't think either of us really got it, but
And the post, yeah.
yeah, pretty close.
Next
I
stream
got
cut out at
somewhat
that time,
close,
so
oh
yeah.
yeah. But
thanks
yeah,
to everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be it for us. So yeah, thank you for giving us this opportunity.